Are you ready?
Starting now?
Oh, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And Mike is in Mexico, so I have, hang on,
Hola.
Mike, I have a little bit of a treat for you. You ready?
All right.
Go ahead. Ready? Here.
Muy bien. Todos bienvenidos una vez más a otro episodio de Sobrio No Maduro.
Did you hear that?
Groovy. Yeah.
That was my opening in Spanish.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I don't know. I thought about it a couple of days ago, and I'm like, wouldn't that be kind of fun if I could do something in Spanish? I'm like, I'm not going to try to learn the fucking language, but I'm like, ooh, Google Translate.
Right.
So you could actually just talk right into the little box and then hit the play button. I'm like, yeah, that was our opening in Spanish. So anyhow, back to the real stuff. Yeah, so you're in Mexico, not in Cleveland. So do tell, how's fucking Mexico?
It's beautiful as always. It was a little cloudy today and a little rainy today, but still better than Cleveland. Right.
So you got to tell us the temperature, though. I mean, that makes it even better.
Well, let's find out. Let's see here. It is right now. It is. It's a little chilly. I'm gonna have to put on a sweater. It's 73 degrees.
Yeah, you don't want to catch a cold. Don't want to get a draft.
It was about 85 earlier today, though. So
Right. But no, I mean that you guys have. How many years have you gone there? It's been at least a handful, if not more.
Right. Yeah. This is our 6th trip down here.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, but I remember last year when you went, because you went down on a Wednesday last year, and I think the day you got down there, we hopped on here to test out for like 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure things worked. And because again, you never know. I mean, I don't.
Right.
I mean, it's the fucking internet, but I don't know if the fucking Mexicans are down there, like some federales are listening. They're like, yeah, we're not going to let him broadcast.
We can't have this. No. You Americanos, hey, gringos, get the fuck off.
Yeah, in the middle of our recording, all of a sudden you're gone. You're like, hello, Mike, hello. Okay, well, whatever.
The cartel got him. All right, off he went.
Right. All right, so obviously it's just us this week. Again, Mike and Chris are in Mexico, so we got a lot of shit to talk about. We had guests for the last couple of weeks. I've got a couple of pages worth of stuff, but so we decided we're not doing the 12-step. We're going to do next week, correct? So we don't have to worry about that right now.
Yep.
But I know you've got your books with you, so you want to get let's get this fucking reading out of the way. God damn.
Well, you know what? Today's was pretty goddamn good. And I know you posted it because I saw it earlier, laying on the beach. That's right. Hate me. But, I read it this morning and I was all, because, I read these things every morning. And I went, this is a pretty damn good one, although I didn't look up who the hell wrote the quote. So we're just going to have to wing it. This was today, wasn't it? Wait a minute. What is today? I'm on vacation, man. No, December 15th, right? That's today, right?
That is
Hello?
today, all damn
Are you
day.
there?
Even in Mexico, yeah. I usually mute when you're doing this to
I
let
know.
you
Well, I
do
haven't
it. So I'm
started
sorry
yet,
about that.
man. Leave me hanging.
But yes, it's the 15th here. It's the 15th in Cleveland, and I think it's the 15th in Mexico. When you
Right.
get farther down there, the date didn't change yet, did it? I think it's
No,
the 15th.
no, I'm not. I haven't crossed the any of that good stuff. I haven't even crossed the equator, so I don't
All
have to
right,
get an
cool.
extra earring. All right, fine. All right, here, December 15th. God damn, here we go. The farther behind I leave the past, the closer I am to forging my own character. Isabel Everhart. Again, didn't look it up, so you're going to have to. How can we leave the past of our active addiction behind us? By walking through the door to recovery and continuing to walk into our new life. How do we do it? One step at a time, one day at a time, just for today, by doing first things first, by thinking. The path of recovery leads us to forge our own character. We may take the same steps as others in our 12-step program, but the way we do them, the things we learn, are personal for each one of us. We each forge our own character. We each develop into the person we are meant to be. To see this in action, we just need to look at the variety of people in our meetings. Even better, we could go to a new meeting across town or across the world. We see how unique we are, even though we have a great deal although we share a great deal as recovering addicts. Prayer for the day. Higher power, you made me to be someone special. Help me realize your goals for me. Today's action says action because this is a program of action. Today, I will think about what I have learned about my own natures as I work the steps. What natural gifts do I have that can help me build my own character? I will write these out and look at the list every day for a week.
Did you do that?
No.
So you know what? Today I think, and in fact I don't remember. I mean, it was fucking 12 hours ago now, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I posted something from the 24-hour book, which is rare. And the reason it's rare from 24 hours a day is because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it's more AA based, more talking about the steps, and I try to post things that are a little bit more general, kind of like God grant
Mm-hmm.
me and keep it simple
Right.
and stuff like
Right.
that. But I think this morning's reading in the 24-hour book it mentioned the step in there, but it was brief, but I really liked it. I forget
Mm-hmm.
what it was now, but it
Yeah.
was just kind of one of those ones where I'm like, God, I always like it. First thing I
Right.
read every morning, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
today was a good one, and I ended up
Yeah, it
posting it.
was.
But yeah, so this one, I mean, a couple of things that I wrote down. Obviously leaving the past, opening the door of recovery to a new life, and then forging or forge. Fuck, I don't even know what the fuck I
Let's see
wrote.
here.
Ooh, I can hear
Yep.
Chris in the background. Damn.
Yes, you do.
Hey.
Yeah, she's hacking up a lung.
God, man, that doesn't sound very good.
No, yeah,
But
well, I've been listening to it for a week. Anyway, forging. Let's see here. I
I
got
was
the
like,
book back. Yeah, I got the book back out.
okay.
I don't know. No, I don't see the word forge. Wow, this is compelling podcasting right here, kids.
It's okay. No, because the next thing said, it was talking about, we meet a variety of people and, things we do are personal and all those
Mm-hmm.
sort of things. And it mentioned the word, the unique part of it. But what I liked is that, it was, and I think that's forging chapter, like forging a new chapter in our life.
Right. Well, yeah, it's the path to recovery leads us to forge our own character.
Oh, character. God damn. I thought that said chapter. Fuck me. So
It starts
here's the
with a
thing.
C, among other
And
things.
it's kind of the same thing. But anyhow,
Sure.
so I like the fact because you and I were talking about that with I think with Mara last
Mm-hmm.
week when we were talking about the retreat. Like she was
Mm-hmm.
saying that obviously we're there to talk about the steps and it's based on the readings and that sort of thing. And then you brought up a good point saying that but it's also based on our experience. Everyone works a little
Mm-hmm.
different, and that's
Right.
what that reminded me of when I was going
Yeah.
through that or actually reading that. And that's true because the thing of it is, and that So anyone out there that is not a 12-step individual, and some people only went to a couple of meetings, and one of the reasons that they stepped away from AA, from what I've heard from people,
Mm-hmm.
is they see all these steps on the wall. They're like, "Fuck, man, that it feels really rigid when you see this list, right?"
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, theoretically, there are suggestions. That's number one. And
Sure.
the only one that we talked about this, the only one that has to be done 100% perfectly is the first one,
Right.
powerlessness and lives unmanageable, that sort of thing. But the
Mm-hmm.
rest of them, I mean, we work them, but yeah, we've all got our ways of doing it. We're all in this big roadway going in the same direction, but things are a little bit different. So I like that,
Right.
that I talked about that. And then, obviously, it talked about natural gifts and things like that, which, I mean, all these different things that we do, bring about. Wow, I can't fucking talk. You know what? It feels like it's been a week since we've done this or something like that. Maybe I forgot how to. Maybe I forgot how to speak, um, but no, just in general, it's I like it. The reading itself was kind of cool. Again, just all these gifts and stuff like that, because we talk about that, plenty of times. But yeah, I mean, that was a good one. And once again, I read that this morning, and bits and pieces. I'm like, hey, that sounds familiar.
Sounds vaguely familiar, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, no, I actually, I really like the reading. That's was definitely a good one. Anything in
Hmm.
particular that you took out of it, like pulled away from it, or
No, I mean, just like you touched on, yes, the path is, kind of the same and whatever. And yeah, like I talked about last week, but, it's our own individual experience working the steps. Yes, we all kind of do it the same, but we all kind of do it a little differently too.
right?
What's important is that we do it to the best of our ability. And hey, what do you know? It works.
Right. And there is a point though that when, because I know that there's things that you had a few sponsors, I've had a few sponsors, and
Hmm.
different things that our sponsors say, hey, try it this way, or we follow
Right.
those suggestions. So we do copycat certain people, or you and I do certain things the same way. And I mean,
Hmm.
we've spent so much goddamn time together, it's kind of hard not to.
Right.
um so we do take and steal and learn and all that stuff,
Mm,
but yeah, you're right, it is a matter of taking these things. It's a recipe, but there's
right.
some
No,
variance to it, but we're all
yeah,
in the same
like
direction.
right, like Bob used to say all the time, it's an inside job.
Right.
Yep. We've got to do the work ourselves, and yes, it's a guideline, it is a recipe, but it's the work that we have to do internally that makes this thing work.
Right. Yeah, I from what I've heard, I think it works if you work it. I think.
So work it because you're worth it.
Yay. I couldn't help myself. And again,
No,
I mean, yeah, we're fucking making fun of other people, but fuck them. So it
we're
is what
making
it
fun
is.
of ourselves.
I know. Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is. Yeah, like at the see the other thing. Did we talk about the retreat as far as the fact that we prayed after
Mm.
every
We no, no, we did not.
just the way you're like, Well, do you want to go ahead and explain that? Because I know how much you love prayer and holding hands. So go
Well,
ahead.
sure. Yeah, it was. Let's see. Well, we worked what? 3 steps a day, basically, or 4 steps a day for 3 days, something
Right.
like that. It averaged out.
Right.
Right. I could do simple math, I swear. And right. And I mean, every time when we did the steps, we started off with Serenity Prayer, and we ended up with the Our Father, um, and and then we broke off into the groups after we did those, and we started each one of those groups off with the Serenity Prayer, and then we finished it with the Our Father. Right. So I mean, we figure what 4 times 2 is 8, and then you got to throw a few more in there because whatever. Anytime we met up and walked away from each other, I think we did at least 2 prayers. Yeah, it was a lot.
Right.
Figure we were doing what, maybe a dozen to 18 prayers a day, not counting the ones that we did in the morning and at night that we do personally. And yeah, it was a lot of goddamn praying.
Right. It was just kind of funny because then like I did what did I do? Step 8.
Hmm.
So 6 and 7 were both together, and then 8 and 9 were both together. So
Right.
kind of in the same before we broke off, we did,
Hmm.
group those two steps. So in like in that particular one. And then Mara's up there. She's like, okay, what we're gonna do? The person's gonna get up here. They're gonna read about, discuss step 6. We're gonna get up and pray. Then we're gonna sit back down. We're not gonna break off yet. Then we're gonna do step 7, and then we got
Right.
back up and prayed, and then did that.
Yeah, we did. God.
which again, I mean, all of it's fine. It was just kind of funny. It was a lot. And then
Yes, it was.
the only thing though is it was the dude that looked like Rick Moranis that I pointed out.
Right.
If nobody knows who Rick Moranis is, you got to fucking look him up, because Mike and I do that every once in a while. There's people we'll run across. I'm like, hey, he sounds like so and so, doesn't he? Close your
Right.
eyes. And then I'm like, hey, this dude Rick Moranis. He's like, oh yeah, I guess so. But,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, probably most famously, the Gatekeeper and Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, he had like fucking clammy hands, and he kept coming in the same. And the one time I just like snuck into another thing like 2 or 3 times during that time frame. I'm just like, then I'm like, I'm not like geesed out by, I don't know. I'm not a germaphobe. It kind of is what it is. But yeah, when somebody's got these fucking just clammy hands, I'm just
they were definitely moist.
Oh, they were fucking moist.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I wiped them off on my pants afterwards. I'm like, oof. but anyhow, I have no idea how I got onto that whole thing. But there's a whole lot of
lots of prayers. Lots of prayers.
Lots of prayers. But so anything else on the reading? I mean, I liked it. That was a good one. I mean, I never complain about any of the readings, but I think that was a good one, because it just
today was actually, all 3 of them were pretty damn good for me. So
yeah,
right.
I agree.
And they were all kind of 12-step stuff too. I couldn't remember if we were doing that this week or not, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll save them for next week.
Yeah, no, it's all good. That's why I figured that, because I know you and I were talking last weekend when I was out there about, I don't know, it came up somehow that we were going to do it next week, and it's cool. I mean, it's just next week again anyhow. So yeah, sorry everyone, it's just us next week.
You'll just have to tune in again for that 12-step stuff too.
Right. Tune in next week for more 12-step shit. All right. So if we're good on the reading, so I've got we got an email from a friend of ours, which I forwarded to you. We got a comment from one of our followers that I think is really nice. I want to touch on this a podcast, a couple of podcast things, not really ours, sort of, but so which one do you want? Like the nice emails from people, and then I don't want to. It's not complaining about the podcast. It's more or less kind of calling myself out on one thing. But so it's up to you. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the good stuff.
Okay. So we had, and God, I should have looked up his episode. We had Gary on our podcast. Gosh, probably 6 months ago, I think it was bad. I think it was, but Gary talked to us about retreats, and that came up in the podcast. And first of all, his episode did really well, just in general, but really nice guy. And he's an active listener, and, obviously was talking about the retreat and all those sort of things. And we brought up that we were going. So he sent us an email, and I already forwarded this to Mike, but I wanted to read this for everyone because, again, Gary's a good dude. He's become a friend of the show. Let's call it that, right?
That's right. Yep.
All right. So this was from our friend Gary. And again, I can't remember what episode. You guys will have to look it up. Just listen to your podcast about the retreat. So glad you both enjoyed it. It's a cool way to fill my spiritual tank, and glad you would go to another one. Thank you for the shout out. It made my day. I picked up 6 years ago on the 19th, and I'm grateful that both of you are a part of my sober journey. And then he ends with, now get ready to fuck off and keep fucking off. And then closes it out with stay real, guys. So
cool.
Just again, I mean, he's just a good dude, and he emails us every once in a while and says nicer shit about us than we do deserve.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And we appreciate
it. Congratulations on 6, dude. That's big shit.
Exactly. Yeah, congratulations. Absolutely. And then the other one is another guy that follows us. And so here's the other thing with this guy, and I don't think I'm pretty sure I never even told him. So his Instagram handle, and I'm not going to read it all off, but it's got 1981 in it. Okay. And it's got the word sober and then something else in it. So here's the thing. My dad got sober in 1981, and his email address was sober1981. Okay. at
Really?
whatever it was, AOL or anything like
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
and that's not what this is, but every time
Hmm.
since this guy has been following us, every time he comments, I think of my dad. Okay.
Right.
And I don't think I told him that because that's not his handle is not sober 1981, but it's got those two things.
Yeah. He's probably born in 1981.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Because I know the demographic of some of our followers and listeners, definitely, no doubt. Um,
Right.
but he sent us this, and I think this was, God, probably this might even be 2 weeks ago now because we had a guest or somewhere in between. But he said, sent a message on Instagram and said, today is my 4-year anniversary.
Mm.
This was my first sober page I started following and want to thank all yous
Mm.
for the ridiculousness. Sometimes I feel we take ourselves too seriously. This
Hmm.
page helps me to not. You guys are the best. And he said he's got his hashtag was 4 more after that. But
Nice.
no, it's just when I saw I'm like, yeah, really? We were the first page. I kind of wanted to apologize to him, but I was just like,
Right?
damn,
No, absolutely not.
yeah.
We apologize for nothing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, sorry that you found us first, but I don't know. I mean, again, so here's the thing, and this will kind of lead into the podcast thing I was going to talk about, but we have, and both of us have talked about it endlessly that we have a relatively small following on Instagram compared to a lot of other pages and a
Sure.
lot of other podcast pages, and same thing with our listener base, the number of plays we get every week. Again, we're a small podcast compared to others out there.
Right.
Here's the thing, though, is that we have very engaged followers and very engaged listeners, which is cool.
That's right.
And they're engaged and they're interactive with us, and it's wonderful. And the fact that we get the same number of plays all the time, roughly, means to me that we're probably getting basically the same listeners. The little fluctuations
Right.
we get,
Sure.
people who drop in and out. But that means that this whole group of people, they're very loyal to what we're doing, and that in and of itself, really, really cool. Really cool.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
You sick motherfuckers.
I know. And so I'll get to that part of the podcast thing here in a second. But do you remember, and we talked about it a couple of times, and I brought it up, God, it's like 3-4 months ago now, there was a podcast that I was listening to, and I said that they had did a year's worth of episodes. They're like, oh, we're going to take a hiatus. We're going to take a break and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And I was, basically just slamming them for it. Right.
Right.
Okay. So what's that term before, what is it? Something before investigation, contempt prior?
Oh, contempt. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Contempt prior to investigation.
Okay. So that applies to be here.
All right.
They came back. Okay. And it just popped up. They're one of the ones that I do enjoy their podcast. It's a guy, it's a male and a female. He's been sober almost 9 years. She's been sober 2.5, something like that. They're just fun. They're kind of like just us in their natural conversation, but
Sure.
They're cool enough. So they come back and they're one of the ones I follow. So it popped up and you could see a little blue dot in Spotify. So I'm like, oh damn, there's 2 episodes. So there was 2 that had been released since they came back. And I listened to the first one, and this guy starts talking about what the deal was. They're back and why he had done whatever. This dude had a meltdown, and I'm not blowing anyone's anonymity here. First of all, I'm not naming them because I'm not promoting their podcast. That's not my point.
Right.
Okay. We have no interaction with them that way, or I would, but I like them. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But all this thing, everything I'm going to say, he said in his podcast. So I'm not telling stories. Okay. But he said, he was overwhelmed with stuff. He was doing this, he was doing that. And basically they took the break because he didn't want to drink necessarily, but kind of like was just, I need to get my shit straight, man. He was going nuts.
Right.
So he did, he's self-employed and did other things, blah, 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 all these different stuff. He paused everything for like 8 weeks. And then every day did an outpatient treatment thing, like a group setting and whatever. Started going back to AA meetings because he never really did an AA thing, and basically just recalibrated himself. Okay, for these 2 months. And I'm sitting there listening to this. I'm like, I'm like, I'm such a fucking asshole.
Well, we know that.
Right. I
And I
know.
jumped right on in with you. Right. I don't even fucking listen to the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, right. So again, that goes back to the thing where you never know what somebody's going through, right? And I mean,
Absolutely.
you and I, we fuck around and we do all these different things, but um, both of us, I mean, we're judgmental, but we try not to be. We try to be
Mm,
understanding and realize that people are going through some shit. But I
sure.
mean, we were having some fun and whatever at somebody else's expense. But here's the other thing:
Hmm.
is that I don't know. Part of this, I'm like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, I need to bring this up. I didn't need to.
Hmm.
I never would.
Right.
I didn't have to share this
I
with
know.
fucking anyone, you know?
Right. Yeah. They don't know. The listeners don't know. It doesn't matter. But we've got this goddamn thing called the conscience
I
now.
know.
Fuck.
hmm And I'm like, you know what? I need to let people know what a dick I am, more so than I come across as.
Right.
There's my dickness on the surface that everyone sees and I wear proudly.
Hmm.
I
Sure.
I wear that proudly. But here's this other part of me that I'm like, oh fuck me. So I just thought it was important to bring it up because this
Hmm.
dude's been sober in the time frame that he's been sober, that's number one. He's married and has kids, he's got a life, successful,
Hmm.
all these different
Sure.
things going on. Um but literally, I mean, he recognized what he was going through, and I'm like, fuck, man, that's
Right.
great,
Yeah, it
because
is.
you recognized it, you had the ability to basically just shut yourself off and
Mm.
just take care of yourself for 6 weeks or whatever it was. It tapered
Yeah,
down at the
right.
end,
Yeah. Well, that's some January 6th shit right there, man.
right? And then here's
Sobriety fucking comes first, no matter what.
right. So here's the other thing, and now the AA meetings was the other because he never talked down about AA.
Hmm.
Just kind of wasn't his deal, like a lot of
Sure.
people I've listened to and we've heard. But
Hmm.
he goes, I need the structure. He goes this group that I did. He goes, every day I was here, we were there to this, we did this stuff. He goes, I thrived on that structure. So then what he
Hmm.
did, he still put all his because he was kind of in his self-employed stuff. He hadn't had a 9 to 5 job, I think, since I don't know, it's been 8 years, 9 years, something like that.
All right.
He went back to work at a 9 to 5 job also
Hmm.
to get the structure back in, doing what he does,
Right.
whatever it is. He didn't say, but
Hmm.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, good for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, no
you
shit.
know? And I'm just like, God damn. So that's the other reason I wanted to share it because
Hmm.
it doesn't matter how long we're sober. And, 8 years is a long fucking time. 13 years
Oh,
is
absolutely.
a long time for me not to, have contempt prior to investigation. But that
Hmm.
still happens. But this happens on the other side. And I'm like, this is just something cool that I wanted to share. And just,
Absolutely.
again, I listen to them and I enjoy them. And, I'm glad that it's cool, but I'm glad that he was able to see something like that. And I was just like,
Right.
it's awesome. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And glad, that he had the ability to do it and also have the the realization that fuck man, I need to reset myself.
right.
Otherwise, this I might get away with it, I might not, and that's important to realize that.
Right.
Yeah, that's big shit, man.
Well, and the other thing he said too, and this was, I think this whole thing, I'm not saying he's a bit of an egotist. He's got that in him,
Mm.
kind of like us, and a lot
So
of
he's an alcoholic.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think some of this stuff humbled him because he kept making a point of it.
Mm.
He goes, now, he goes, here's the thing. He goes, I'm grateful that I have the insurance. I'm grateful I was able to take the time. Everything that you just
Right.
said.
Hmm.
But he's like, and then the co-host, and she's like, yeah, and you noticed it. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I'm grateful for that too. It's just
Hmm.
this whole line of stuff. I'm like, damn, it was kind of, it really caught me in a really good way. But
Hmm.
then also I'm
Hmm.
listening to, I'm like, oh, you fucker, you just mother me.
Right. Oh, I know. I
And
know what you
I'm
meant.
just like, you fucking piece of shit, fucking fuck.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
but yeah, so I told on myself, so
You
I
did.
feel a little bit better
Yeah.
about that.
A
So
little 10-step action there. That's good.
yeah, when I was wrong, promptly admitted to every one of you fuckers out there. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. But so the other thing on the podcast stuff, Sonia that we had on like a year ago, remember Sonia
Hmm.
from Canada?
Sure.
Her and her ex-sister-in-law also started a podcast. So,
Mm.
Sonia does her thing with all her recovery groups and things like that. And then her
Right.
sister-in-law, I think she's a therapist in
Okay.
Canada. So
Mm-hmm.
their ex sister-in-law, so they started this podcast, and I listened to it because again, it's Sonia, it's somebody we had on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sure.
they're probably they're more on the clinical side, because again,
Mm-hmm.
what both of them do, but still
Sure.
interesting topics. They were talking about emotional sobriety, all this different stuff, and I had sent her a message. I'm like, damn, I said I just listened to your first episode. I really enjoyed it, and I'm like, it sounds great, the whole production value and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I listened to the second one, and then she posted this thing that they got 10,000 downloads in the first
Mm.
two episodes. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, it took us a year, like
Right.
like a year to get that. And literally, I'm like, first of all, I said, congratulations, that's huge. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, right.
So she came back and she said they actually hired a production company
Ah.
to do their first four episodes. So they
Mm-hmm.
produced them, which again, the production value and that sort of thing is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever actually listened to Matt Sober Friends. He got
Mm.
again this once you listen to that Decoding the Big Book, you'll hear it's produced very well, but that's all Matt.
Right.
But anyhow, and
Mm-hmm.
she said that that production company is also somehow promoting it. And I said, well, whatever
Sure.
they're doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, yeah, part of me was just like, son of a bitch, you know.
Right.
But here's the thing, and then I'm like, the production company, this and that. I mean, I like what we do and I like where we're at, but one
Mm-hmm.
thing that we haven't talked about recently, and just to let everyone know, and because every single podcast I listen to, and we've talked about this before, um, nobody begs for donations, nobody begs for anything like that. But what
Right.
everyone mentions, which we do, but everyone that's listening, again, everything we just talked about, this small, loyal, and engaged audience, tell
Mm-hmm.
one of your friends about us. If you like what we're doing,
Yeah.
tell one of your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Share any one of our posts. I post an episode clip every single day. Or whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Google, wherever you're listening, go on there, give us 5 stars and just a brief review. Because what that does, and I found this out from other people, the more
Mm-hmm.
activity, it's not just the listens, but the more activity that there is on a podcast, it raises it kind of in the ranks. And the whole
Right.
point is we don't get quote these are my big old fucking quotes, air quotes. We don't
Mm-hmm.
get paid more to be higher on the list, okay? Because
Right.
we're not making any money on this, okay? I think
Right.
we've made that very fucking clear, which is fine. But what it does though is that if you truly do like what we talk about for whatever fucking reason, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
it grows and then other people can listen to it,
Yeah.
and it's cool, So yes, you can buy us a coffee, you can go on our web store, you can do all those different things, but free shit that you can do. Tell one person about us, post about us
Mm-hmm.
one time, even once a week, once a month if you want to, on
Right.
Instagram or Facebook. And even if you tell 10 people, 3 people will listen, that's
Mm-hmm.
what it'll come down to, and there it is. So
Yeah.
I think we've done everything we can on our end. We put spectacular words.
You couldn't even get that out.
No, no. Uh, I know we don't work that hard. Why should you? I get it. No, I
Mm-mm.
get it. Yeah,
Right.
it's okay. Yeah, okay. So fuck it. Don't tell anyone. Just keep listening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, tell a couple
Yeah,
people.
tell a couple of people, but
Right.
no, I mean seriously, from a serious standpoint, if we get these nice comments from people every once in a while, and it leads both Mike and I to believe that possibly other people out there, for whatever reason, might
Mm-hmm.
get something out of this. And
Yeah.
seriously, we really don't. We're egotists, be more so than Mike. Let me talk about myself,
Mm-hmm.
but we can be egotistical, we can fuck around, but we also realize that I mean, some of this shit we got some days behind us, and
Mm-hmm.
we went through some shit, and keep going through some shit. So maybe one or two words out in between the dick jokes and the fuck yous,
Yep.
it might help. Who knows? So
Absolutely. Which is kind of, yes, we like doing this and we like hanging out with each other, but, we do want to help somebody. Don't know exactly how, but we know we want to do it.
right, yeah, and this is what's kind of crazy too. Is when I was setting up the studio, I mean, this is episode 95, so it's
Mm-hmm.
fucking crazy, And
I know.
I mean, just out of curiosity the other day, and because you and I have actually talked, off of here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as concerned about the reach on Instagram. I'm not so much concerned about our follower base. If an episode's
Hmm.
doing weird or doing well, I mean, I don't get bummed out if it doesn't. All of our episodes do about the same.
Sure.
But just out of curiosity, I looked up, because I'm like, God, I wonder how many podcasts, again, statistically make it to 100 and that sort of thing. And it's
Hmm.
just ungodly. They said that, again, like we saw to begin with, a lot of
Right.
podcasts quit after 3 episodes. Whatever
Hmm.
that percentage was, only 25%. I think you had that one make it to 11. Um,
Right.
Getting to a year, I mean, 90%. We knew that statistic.
Hmm.
90% fail within a year. And then they started going through all this stuff, and like, I mean, out of these millions of podcasts, it's down in the hundreds of thousands that are actually active. And what they mean
Hmm.
by active is that they posted something in the calendar year. And then they go to a
Right.
smaller point about, people that post all the time on a weekly or monthly basis. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, and again, we are what we are. We're that we're the little engine that could.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of.
Is it really? Eh,
It is.
fuck me, man. We've been hanging out too fucking long. That it's
Yep.
again, it's
Two half a
it's
brains.
it's not a bad thing, but every once in a while, it just kind of blows my mind that we think the same goddamn thing. But
I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
but seriously, anyhow, we truly 100% appreciate everyone that listens. If you could and if you want to, share it with somebody, that'd be awesome. And
Hmm.
like I said, there's so many fucking podcasts out of there and so many choices, which is why it means so much more to us. And literally, there's millions of fucking podcasts out there, and
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that you guys listen to us, and some of you guys were in your, like, the top 10 or top 5 of podcasts,
Hmm.
which again, fucking mind blowing, So
I know.
it's just, thank you. I guess that's all we can say, right?
That's it. That's it. Yes. Thank you very much. And like and subscribe and share.
Yeah. So why don't we? I'm kind of tearing up a little bit here. So why don't we take a?
Uh-huh. Yeah, go wipe yourself off. And we will be back right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have 2 websites now. So we
Two?
wanted 2 websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's
Yes.
www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can
Right.
access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is
at
a
least,
big deal.
at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And
They
once
are.
again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
.com.
.com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone, you've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone, welcome back. And wiped away my crocodile tears, and I'm in good shape now. So yeah. I really wasn't crying, in case anyone was wondering. But now Mike is muted. So, or were you?
And he does have to wipe himself off.
Oh, Chris is back there. Tell her, just give her a virtual hug for me, would you? Just
Bill is sending a virtual hug to you right now.
yeah.
Wow. And she cleared her throat for you.
You know what that reminded me of? Is Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places when he's got the steak and is sucking his beard.
Right, the giant salmon steak stuck in his Santa Claus beard.
I forgot about that. That was a salmon steak.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. So, I mean, I've got a bunch of other stuff on here. Let me think if there was one other thing I wanted to really touch on, but we've got Megan sent us all those questions. Let's you know what? Let's just go with that. That's on my last page here. I'm just going to read these off as they appear. How's that?
Yeah, and that's been like what, about 6 weeks or so?
Yeah,
so I think we need to get to that.
Well, let's do it right now. Okay, so this is from our friend Crazy Megan. And when she sent this to us, she signed it Deuces, Crazy Megan. and she says, I love to pick a curious mind. Let's stir a pot. She is our friend, and we appreciate her just for doing shit like that. So, number one, in some 12-step recovery circles, medication-assisted treatment, Vivitrol, Suboxone, Methadone, individuals are not as welcome. What is okay, Megan, what is you view on this? What is your view on this? Now, we talked about all this stuff before, but
or what are your views?
Yes. Pardon me, sir. What are your views?
That fucking microphone out of my face.
So we've talked about this a little bit, but we could do a kind of a refresh. So medical assisted treatment, I would say.
Well, there's actually, read the whole question again.
In 12-step recovery circles, medication assisted treatment, individuals are not as welcomed. What are your views on this? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did kind of wash over that part. Sorry about that.
Right. No, that's okay. I wanted to make sure it was all in there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've again made our views very much known that yes, that's not our path. It's for me, it's the easier, softer way. It's not actually working a recovery program. It's trying to substitute one substance for another, which the big book talks about. If you're curious about that, read it. And I still don't know what natural wines are. Right. But not as welcome. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking.
Right.
Yes, if you are asking me for help and you are trying to use one of those other substances to get through it, I'm probably not the guy that's going to be the best fit for you to work with. But you're certainly welcome. Certainly welcome. Anybody that tries to keep anybody out of recovery just because of that is a fucking asshole, and they can go fuck themselves.
Right.
Right. But again, we've made our views clear on that. Yes, that's not our path, and we don't think it's going to work in the long run. I've never seen a very successful person do that. I've seen people stay off the other substances on those other substances, if that makes sense. But I don't see them recovered, and I sure as hell don't see them happy, joyous, and free. So, definitely not free.
Right.
Yeah. So, but to be unwelcoming to those individuals, that's fucking wrong too.
Right.
That's just as wrong as anything else.
Yeah. And that's, and I was focusing more on the actual substances she was talking about than that sentence, when that was actually the most important part of it, because what we were talking about was, do we consider, we were talking about it with, I think on her own, but also with Katie because Katie brought up that
Mhm.
question.
Yeah, that's right.
As
Yeah.
far as sober, so neither one of us necessarily consider the person to be sober if they're doing that,
Right.
because they're still on
Mhm.
substances, and everything you said, I agree with you. But yeah, to be, because there was, and we've talked about this before, there was a dude that used to come into our meeting at Who Do You Know every single Friday,
Mhm.
and you could smell the booze on him.
Mhm.
I mean, he came in,
Mhm.
either lit or coming off, but he was
Right.
sitting in that seat in the front.
Definitely in his system.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah. He was in the front, in the front row
Mhm.
at the meeting every week.
Yeah.
So
Every week.
we have to, I hate to say assume, but we have to surmise that he had the desire. He didn't
Mhm.
walk in there and say, fuck this, I don't want to get sober. I'm just sitting in here to
Right.
to ooze alcohol out of my pores for an hour. But yeah, the not welcoming part. Thankfully, I don't think I've ever been in a meeting where somebody was asked to leave or
Mm-mm.
not allowed to come in. I've heard of stories like that where somebody starts getting
I mean,
unruly.
yeah, right. I mean, I have been in a couple of meetings where, clearly they were fucked up and they were being um yeah, interruptive.
Right.
They were, yeah. And so, yeah, you walk them outside and you say, hey, man, you can't do that in here. And, come back next week, man. You're, definitely seen that.
Right.
And they'll usually tell you to fuck off, and they probably won't show up the next week. But you tell them they're welcome. They just can't be in there while they're being that way,
Right.
But yeah, of course. But I mean, I've talked about I fucking shot up in the bathroom meeting
Right.
before. I've been drunk. I've been high. I've been at meetings loaded plenty of times in my past. But I wasn't, I didn't interrupt it. I didn't abuse anybody else. And I'm sure there were people in there that knew that I wasn't sober. But nobody asked my ass to leave.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. So the quick wrap up, not our thing with being medically assisted, but if somebody walks into a meeting and has that, fits that number one and only requirement, then they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Question number 2: do you believe trauma predisposes someone to addiction issues?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Question number 3. No.
Right. And I mean, that is the buzzword.
Right.
My home group, we've had some new blood come in, which is good. And, we've got some females coming in, and which is good, because it is an open meeting. They've been being of service and chairing and getting leads and stuff. So we've gotten, again, new blood is the best way to put it.
Right.
And the word trauma has come up recently at my home group. And I sit there and go, right. It is the new buzzword, and absolutely, but we've all had trauma, and there are plenty of people out there that have had lots of trauma that aren't us.
Right.
They deal with it differently. Maybe not, they may even deal with it worse than we did.
Right.
Absolutely. But no, one does not have to do with the other. Clearly, whatever trauma you and I have had in our lives is pretty fucking mild compared to many, many people. And it didn't stop us from, being goddamn out of control drunks.
Right.
Right. So, right. Yeah. So, I mean, so it goes both ways, no, yes, I think, because of trauma, you can medicate, but you can be a complete asshole in other ways, and you can be a complete asshole and not have any trauma at all. So,
Right. And I think that the key word to that one, and I'm glad she put it this way, is predisposes, because I think that
right.
means everything. And so the one doesn't equal the other is, I guess, the easiest way to put it. Now, granted,
Right.
people could have anything, some people, I had fucking zero coping skills, and as a 41-year-old, quote unquote adult male, when my dad died, I didn't know what I was already, a fucking raging alcoholic, and all I knew to
Right.
do was to just drown more. Now, so
Mm-hmm.
could I look at that piece? That was my over the edge point, just because I didn't know how to deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to drink
Right.
more, you know. Um,
Sure.
but to your, and I like the fact that you put that. I mean, there's millions of people in this country that have gone,
Mm-hmm.
through horrible, and I'm not laughing at it,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, just I can't even imagine horrible things, and they make it through life. They go to therapy. They do what they got to do. They do whatever they need to do to get over that sort of thing. Um, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, again, millions of them are not alcoholics,
Right.
and
Exactly.
you and I went through some shit. I mean, I know your childhood stories. I think you went through,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some more shit than I. And nobody on
Right.
my side of the family was saints, but I didn't get the shit kicked out of me. I didn't get left for dead anywhere, and you know, I
Right.
didn't get abused. Well, probably mentally,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, if you really wanted to dig
Hmm.
into it. But we all are,
Right. Right.
maybe mentally and verbally, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but yeah, the predisposes thing I think is the main word, and yeah, no. So
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Absolutely not. Right.
all right, yeah. So I just found that was kind of funny. I'm like, well, let's just go on, man. No, but
I know that was. Nope.
yep,
Next.
yeah. If Megan listens to this, love you, Megan.
Yeah, I know. And she's laughing her ass
Yeah.
off.
Okay. So number 3, have you ever met somebody constitutionally incapable? If so, why do you think they were? Now, I'm just going to explain this. If people
Hmm.
who are not or have not ever been around a 12-step program, basically in chapter 5, how it works, it talks about, how all this shit comes together and how we do what we do. And they say that there
Hmm.
are certain people that are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves, but even
Hmm.
they can find sobriety if they're willing to, what is it, willing to be honest, or willing to go down a certain path or whatever it is. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, no, it's actually no. there, there are some people that are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates,
There you
but
go.
yeah, and then it goes on to there are people with mental problems, but if they can be honest, they can work this
Oh,
thing.
okay. Yeah. So
Um,
okay, gotcha.
yeah, but the people that are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves, this shit doesn't work for them.
Right.
That's what the book's saying. Yeah. I know one, and I'm not going to mention her name because, yeah, but I do know one. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a little frightening, but yeah, and thankfully it doesn't apply to her. But yeah, it's a little scary that there's, yeah, there are people out there that just fucking their reality is, I mean, they will tell you that the sky is green. They will fucking believe it with all their heart, and there's nothing you could do to change their mind.
Right.
And it's weird.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do know one. But thankfully she doesn't have to work this program. So whatever. Move on.
Well, and I wasn't incapable of being honest, but I was trying to be capable of letting people believe that I was being honest. Is that the right way to put it?
Well, probably not, but I know what you mean.
Let me give an example. Unfortunately, my ex-wife Dawn, and I mean Dawn, I was about to say she's a saint. She's not a saint. She's an everyday lovely human being, and I mean that.
Yes, she is.
But I mean, saint is, none of us are saints, and I
Right.
think if she ever listens to this,
Plus, I've looked at her eyes. I know she's got a little devil in there.
well, that's probably why we got together. But
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it is.
no, but I mean, she didn't deserve the treatment that she got from me. And one of
Of
those
course
one
not.
of those things is that she would look outside and say, "Hey, look, the sun's out." And I'm like, "No, it's not." And she's like, "Look right
Hmm.
there, the sun's out." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"No, it's not." And
Yeah, but you see, the difference is you knew the fucking sun was out. You're just being a dick.
right, right. But that was the same thing. She's like, "You were drinking today, weren't you?" Of course not. I checked this and
Of
of
course not.
course not.
Right. Hmm.
That was me being, that's the opposite
Hmm.
of that. But I don't know
Right.
that I've known people since we got sober that either couldn't grasp step one or didn't work things and,
Mm-hmm.
refused to do those sort of things and kept slipping,
Sure.
and I don't know if that's constitutionally incapable. That's just maybe not grasping it. I don't know. I don't know that I've met anyone that is constitutionally incapable of being honest, like a pathological liar.
Right.
I don't think I've
Right.
met that.
Yeah. Well, I've met a lot of people and I only know one. So yeah, there's that. But right. And that's it, and that's exactly what the book is talking about when it comes to that is, working the first step, yes, we will fight tooth and nail to not admit that we have a problem,
Right.
That we have some sort of control over this thing, that we have power. And and then again, the first step, man, powerless.
Right.
And it's a bitch for us to go, yeah, I have absolutely no power. But once we do it, somehow freeing, which is fucking weird.
Right. Yeah, I know, and it is. I mean that whole thing is that the powerlessness thing is, I mean it's a killer. That is the
Right.
thing that, and, God, even to this day, it doesn't matter what it is. Things that I want that would actually benefit my life in a positive way, and it doesn't even matter what it is, and I'm not hoping for, like you said, can I wish for a new car? Whatever that was a couple weeks ago. You can wish all you
Right.
fucking want, but and it's
Uh-huh.
not that. It's like maybe it's a livelihood thing, maybe it's a growth thing, maybe it's whatever it is. But I
Mm-hmm.
can't force it and I can't push it, type of thing. Or and
Right.
we talked about mom's death and our stepdad Larry's death, or anyone we've known that passed
Mm-hmm.
away. No matter what
Mm-hmm.
we did, we can't control those things. We can't
Nope.
control that shit. That's
Nope.
powerlessness, and we talked about that when our mom died. That's
Mm-hmm.
life on life's terms, and talk about feeling powerless. Just like fuck, just
Right.
a random Sunday morning. Well, she's fucking dead. Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
gone. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the powerlessness thing. So anyhow, I guess to answer that question, one person, not necessarily in this program, but if that individual
Mm-hmm.
would have to work this program, it probably wouldn't work for that individual.
I don't see how it could.
Okay, no, and that's
But that's me, and who the fuck knows? Hey, guess what? I could be wrong.
really. Hang on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
no, I'm not.
Note.
But anyway.
Wait. Note to self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Could. Not necessarily am.
Right.
Just could be wrong.
Yes.
Right.
Maybe. Could be.
So you're telling me there's a
Yeah,
chance.
exactly. Okay, so number 4, in sobriety, who have you placed on a pedestal, and have they shown they are human, and how? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first? Okay, go ahead.
I mean, yeah. Thankfully, we were taught that pretty early on not to do that. Yeah, there are certainly people I looked up to. There were certainly people that had what I wanted, and so I did what they did. But absolutely, and every one of them, in one way or another, has shown me their humanity, which is cool too.
Right.
Which I think is kind of one of the big themes of this podcast is showing people that we're human, we're stupid, we're filthy, and we're sober.
Yeah, in spite of ourselves, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So, no, not very high. And again, thankfully those guys that we, globbed onto early enough, they showed us not to put people up on a pedestal too far. Look for the qualities that you want. And yes, and we're all human. We're all equal. Try to do this thing one day at a time, like everybody else.
Right.
So, no, nobody certainly fell from grace. Thankfully, I chose fairly well the people that I not necessarily put on a pedestal, but certainly looked up to.
Right.
just because they were just very slightly more elevated than I was at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Well, and the only reason I asked you if you wanted to go first, you seemed to pause for a minute there when I first asked the question. So,
Mm,
because I know you normally go first, but you had that minor pause.
yeah.
But you were
Yeah.
maybe you were reflecting.
I was.
But so here's the funny part, and talk about two brains together. That was what you said almost to a T. What I was going to say is we were taught very early, and
Uh-huh.
here's the thing, and I just looked it up. I've got my the 24-hour book on my phone, and it's got a search function like the Big Book app does.
Right.
So this reading, okay, which is kind of cool, from the 24-hour
Mm-hmm.
book is July 23rd, while we were still
I was
halfway.
gonna say, I was wondering, yeah. So a couple months into it for
Yep.
us.
So this is cool, and this was the thought for the day from there. We should remember
Mm-hmm.
that all AAs have clay feet. We should not set
Mm-hmm.
any member on a pedestal and mark her or him as a perfect AA member. It's not fair to the person to be singled out in this fashion, and if the person
Mm-hmm.
is wise, he or she will not wish it. If the person we
Mm-hmm.
single out as ideal has a fall, we are in danger of falling too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not the whole thing, but that's the exact gist of what we were
Right.
just talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, the fog was starting to lift about 2 months into this thing and or 3 months into this thing for us. And we read that and went, right. I'm sure that's where we got it from.
Yeah, and that's just kind of funny because and I remember the clay feet thing. So that's what I literally typed in
Mm-hmm.
clay feet. But yeah, it was just kind of funny. And as I'm reading this, I just got a text. So Kathy went out to see Mark and Michael in New York City this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So she sends me a text starting the vacuum in my room. See, she's got the little Roomba thing, which the one time
Mm-hmm.
when she wasn't here, she started that 'cause she could do it on her phone. And I mean, there's
Right.
nobody in the fucking house, and I hear this banging, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? So because it'll come up, it'll hit the door and whatever. But I just thought that was kind of funny. So I just gave her rock horns on the way back. So okay. But no, I think both of us agree. I don't. We learned that right away, and I don't think there was anyone that I was ever. If somebody fell, it's what we do, which is
Mm-hmm.
a sad way to put it, but it is, So
Right. Right. Exactly. And like I talked about, right. Yeah. There were people that we certainly looked up to, but I think more looked across to,
right.
They were ahead of us. Yeah. Looked up, not height wise, but ahead of us on the path.
Mhm.
I think is the only way we did it. And I think that's the only way to do it.
Right. Yeah, they're just they're a couple of people ahead of us in line. We're all in the same
Mm-hmm.
walking path, and they're just a few
Right.
people ahead of us. So
Right. Yeah. But we wanted to see how they were putting one foot in front of the other.
right.
Yeah.
If they
How the fuck are you doing that? How the hell did you get up there?
and if they do stumble, we can juke to the left and keep on walking. So yeah.
That's right.
All right. So next one, we talked about this briefly, but question number 5: on December 7th, Ohio is a recreational cannabis state. Any thoughts? What about the
Mm-hmm.
use for medical reasons? Which again, we touched on this, but do you want to recap
Mm-hmm.
that? So any thoughts on it being, obviously going into, recreational, and what about if
Right.
people use it for medical reasons?
Right. People use all kinds of drugs for medical reasons, so that's fine.
Right.
Whatever. I will say that I voted for it because I don't think there's, booze is legal. Pot should be legal. I've talked about it on here before, man. Cocaine and heroin and every fucking thing else should be legal. Regulated, taxed, and let's move on. Let's be grown-ups about it. They can, I can't, so I won't.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same as beer. And yeah, I was talking about somebody the other day about that, one of my coworkers. It's like, well, hell, I can't show up for work drunk either, and he's all, oh yeah, good point. I said, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, again, I voted for it. Other people can, I can't. Let's stop stigmatizing it and making it illegal and boosting the black market. And, Jesus Christ, people, grow up.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I don't care one way or the other. I mean, the only thing that I don't like is I don't I don't want to be wafted with I don't want to be wafted with anything.
Mm,
Okay, you know,
yeah.
and I don't care if it's I can walk back past a lilac bush and for whatever reason that smell is it affects me. It's kind of an allergy type of thing. Bless you, Chris.
Bless you, Chris.
Yeah, all of our listeners just said bless you into their listening
All of our
device.
listeners just said bless you.
But no, I mean, I guess I don't really care. And from the medical side of things, I know that people. I've never looked at it weird. I mean, I know it helps with what glaucoma, sometimes cancer patients.
Sure.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. If you're going through chemo, it's going to help with the nausea and it's going to give you an appetite.
Right.
Hey, kids, the munchies. Right.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that'll piss me off is if I ever get to the point where they're like, you could smoke weed over here to make you feel better, and I'm not, and I can't. I might get pissed then, but
Yeah.
but
Right.
probably won't. Yeah, I don't know. But
Right.
there's some sort of you're the one that brought it up that whatever medication they were trying to give mom before she had passed away, you said it sounded like some sort of synthetic. So I'm sure they have the same. You
Right.
can probably take a pill with basically the same effects, I would assume. So but-
Yeah, pretty much. They're not actually quite as good from what I've heard. And yeah, whatever, man.
Right.
I mean, I'm sitting down here at a resort. There's goddamn booze everywhere. There's also weed everywhere. There's also, who cares, man? They can, I can't.
Right.
Yeah. That's all.
And we've been 100% open about all of this stuff that we're not anti-alcohol, we're not anti-drugs. People do nasty shit with when they're drunk, when people do nasty shit when they're fucked up on something. When people do nasty shit, we're not fans of it. People are fucking up other people's
Right.
lives, we're not fans of it. But that's our mindset, and they can, we can't.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Again, if you can go have a couple of pops or smoke a joint or whatever, and take care of your kids, good.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah, that didn't. Just as a side note, in case anyone forgot, that didn't work for either one of us. Just so you know.
No. Nope. God knows we tried.
Yeah, oh yeah. I tried for a number of years. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so 2 more questions. This is question number 6. It says, make a mission statement for 2024. What is it? Now, I don't know if she means personally or I would as a podcast. Since she sent this in to us, I would think it would be a podcast mission statement because I don't make resolutions.
Okay.
I don't make resolutions. I
Right.
don't make fucking mission statements personally. Ever.
No.
If I want to make
Right.
a change, if I want to make a mission statement, I'll make one today or I'll make one on June 2nd. I don't need a new year for it. But so yeah, what
Right.
about like from a podcast standpoint, if we had to have a mission statement, what would we like to see happen in 2024?
Well, I'd like to be able to quit my job and do this full time. No. Yes.
Second that.
Right. Seriously, just we've talked about it so many times. As long as we're having fun and there's 1 or 2 people out there that are having fun with us, fuck it, we'll keep going.
Right.
Yes, it would be nice, more people. Hell, we already talked about it, like, share, subscribe.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, grow this little thing. That's all. But we're sure as hell not going to change anything, and we're not gonna do a damn thing different. We're just gonna keep swearing and talking about recovery.
Yeah, the only thing that we have talked about, we've been talking about this for a year, is trying to do the episodes where we can make them sort of, they're still recorded, but we can make them live where people can actually call in. But I think it's got to be from a computer, not a phone. We got to figure out some logistics, but we're not doing that. We think it'd be fun. We might mess around with the video side of it every once in a while, but I don't know.
Right.
I watch some of these fucking video podcasts. Very, very few. Oh, that's the other statistic that I read. Out of all the podcasts out there, only 17% are doing video. That's it. And I'm like, that kind of blew my mind. But the
Right.
podcasts that are out there that have videos, all it reminds me of a fucking work meeting. People are just standing there looking at each other. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, granted, we do have a YouTube channel. I've been posting our audio episodes now on YouTube. I don't know.
Right.
It might be something to fuck with just to get some video clips and whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, but nobody wants to look at
I
us,
know. I
man.
just did. You know what? Maybe we can get a couple of like hookers in here every once in a while. Yes. Wait. Okay. There's our mission statement. More
More hookers.
Yeah, there you go, Megan. That's our mission statement. More hookers.
There you
No,
go.
no,
All
seriously.
right, we're done with that question.
Right. But I look at, if it had to be for the podcast, I look at the podcast the same I look at my work life and my recovery life in general. Is I want to be able to help people and have fun while I'm doing it. And that's exactly what you said. And literally that's as I interview for jobs, people are like, why do you want this type of job? I want to help people, and it's something I really enjoy. If I could put those two things together, it's a fucking win. So
absolutely doesn't get much better than that,
right? And I mean, look at you; you're literally moving the economy on a daily basis. So there you go. That's a fact. It is a fact.
It is.
But okay. So last one, question number 7. Did you wait to have, and she puts it in quotes, relations with a partner for the first year of sobriety? Why or why not? So, first of all, both of us have been completely open and vocal about this. Go first, though.
No, yeah, I waited 5 years, and it was a fucking disaster. Right. Yeah, right. And I was ready. Well, hell, I was ready, 2 weeks after putting the bottle down.
Right.
Right. But of course I wasn't ready. Like I said, I waited. It didn't happen for 5 years. And when it did, it was wrong. And I am very grateful that I waited that long, because my foundation was really fucking solid. And my support group was really fucking solid. And it didn't phase my sobriety one little bit. It wasn't easy, it wasn't fun, but my sobriety was never in question going through that. So yeah, there's my answer.
Right. And I mean, same deal. I think mine was like 2 years in, I think. And that is one rule that had, just to be really fucking clear, I would have broken the shit out of that rule had I had the opportunity.
God, yeah.
So I did not follow that rule because it was a rule. I followed that rule because I didn't have the opportunity. There, I said it.
Right.
That's it. No,
yeah.
But
right.
But it's in the thing of it is, and I mean, obviously, I think everyone knows. Mike knows everything about me, and he knows my ups and downs. And I've been open about the fact that I have not had a long-term relationship since I've been sober. It doesn't mean I haven't spent time with people, but here's the thing, and I've made some bad decisions, that that a couple I'm not proud of, and a couple the decisions I made were they were not great decisions. They were not decisions that should have come out of a sober mind. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But same deal. None of these things. I've had my heart broken. I've had it stepped on. I've had all those different things happen. But every single person that I've spent any amount of time with, if I saw them today, I wouldn't cross the street. I would have a conversation. One or two might be a little uncomfortable or weird, but I just, that's the difference in my relationship life, if you want to put it that way, between now and before I quit drinking. So before I quit drinking, and even after I got sober, I mean, we talk about mending relationships. The big relationships I had to mend were the two biggest women in my life. Those were my ex-wives, the ones that I shouldn't have shit on, and I did. And it took years to put those relationships back, together. And I guess I'm grateful that didn't happen. But to go back to the original thing, yes, both of us waited. Neither of us wanted to. I think would have fucked anything that walked through. Oh, do you remember that Who Do You Know meeting? That chick that walked in that one time?
Yeah. No, I don't remember it at all. Jesus Christ, man. Smoke show.
Yeah. So Who Do You Know was was a men's meeting.
Is.
I'm sorry, is. It was our home group, and theoretically it always will be. But so every Friday night we went there, and it was again basement of a church, and all the old timers that we always talk about were there, and smallish room, but always
Right.
full. And yeah, it's the summertime too. So this chick comes in. I don't remember what type of shirt she was wearing, but she had like these short jean shorts on. So she walks down the stairs and up the aisle all the way to the podium. So she's walking by everyone. And you
Yep.
hear the fucking room got fucking deadly quiet.
Pin drop.
And she's like, is this only a men's meeting or can I stay? And all the guys are just like, we're just sitting there going, yeah, you can fucking stay. You can fucking stay. You can fucking stay.
Yeah, right. Well, because I mean, yeah, what you and I were, 4 months sober, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
Right.
If that.
Right.
Oh yes. When you said, yeah, she was as my buddy Dean used to say, she was donut grease hot. She was.
Wow. Yes, she was.
But yeah. So anyhow, we would have. Yeah, we would have if we could have, but we didn't, so we didn't. So,
right.
All right. So, and then once again, Megan signed this. Deuces, Crazy Megan. So, Crazy Megan, thank you very much. And yeah,
thank you.
So yeah, whenever we had Michael on, because literally she emailed this to me like 4 minutes before we went on with Michael, and I was just like, God damn, it's like this long little things here, but that was good. So decent questions, huh?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
And, for all the other listeners out there, if you want to hear more of this wonderful stuff, you send us some questions.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
And we'll certainly tackle them. Knock them to the ground and beat them with a baseball bat.
Right. And that's what, we go back to what we were saying before is, I don't know what more we could do. I mean, I said that kind of jokingly, but seriously, I put that up on Instagram all the time. We have a little thing where you can leave us a voicemail now. If you want to talk a question in there, if you want to, send us anything, message it, email, whatever you want to do, man, because we will, even if it's something we talked about. Okay. So again, all you fucking people out there that send me like 70,000 memes. Okay. one every 7th meme, send a question in there.
Yeah, right.
But no, I don't stop sending the memes because I fucking love them and I post them all over the place. But the questions will be cool too. So, okay, so I think we beat the shit out of that one. But
we did.
Okay, so this one, I know the response to this, but I want to kind of take this as I want to tell you the whole background story. This person was talking about it. Okay.
All right.
I think this might have been, it was, this was Matt, Sober Friends podcast episode. So he had this chick on there that had a sponsor, end up having a male sponsor. She was in AA, ended up taking on a male sponsor, and that was like the title of the episode. She did what was not supposed to happen, took on a male sponsor, but blah, blah, blah. So first of all, and again, I'm not going to jump the route here, but what's your opinion on, or the opinion of the group on having a sponsor of the opposite sex? Let's start there first.
Right. Well, what did we just say? If we had the opportunity, we would have taken it. Right. Clearly, there are exceptions to every rule. Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, right, we're supposed to stay with our own. I've often wondered, well, what about the men and women playing for the other team? I mean, yeah, I mean, that's got to get a little strange too. I mean, if you're both playing for that team, that's got to be a little weird too. I would think, if I were a gay man, maybe it would be better for me to have a straight female sponsor.
Right.
I don't know. Just, again, the way we were taught was, if you're a guy, you get a guy. If you're a girl, you get a girl. And it seems to make sense that is the safest way, if no other way to put it, to go. Because, I mean, yes, you could be taken advantage of, and you may want to be taken advantage of, and it's not what we're supposed to be fucking thinking about that first year or so.
Right.
And and that's not what we're looking for. They're not supposed to buy you cigarettes. They're not supposed to get you a job of any kind, hand blow, whatever. Right. So yeah, that's not what a sponsor's for. Sponsors supposed to work you through the steps. That's all they're supposed to do. And the 13th is not in there. So yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah, as a general rule, right? Men go with men, women go with women, but clearly there are exceptions.
Yeah. So, I think I've listened to, if not all of their episodes, I've listened to most of them, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been very open about this. Please, Matt's a friend of ours. He was on here. We consider him a friend. Sober
Right.
Friends podcast. Listen to it. I mean, he's a good dude. So
Mm-hmm.
um, more than happy to promote him. But so I listened to it because I would have anyhow, but it kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, let's see what this shit's
Right.
all about.
Yeah. Right.
So when she first came in, and kind of a wild child type of thing from everything she
Mm-hmm.
was saying, she went sponsorless for, I think she said 8 or 9 months or something like that. Okay,
Wow.
went to a meeting. It was a lot of old timers and stuff like that. She was going to the meeting. She was doing all the work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't have a sponsor, and she had gone, I don't know, they went to her and a bunch of people from the group, which a lot of them, again, men and women, long
Sure.
old timers, men and women in the meeting. However,
Uh-huh.
she came in and laid down her bag, and there was a book in there, and he's like, hey, what's that? She's like, I bought a book on how to work the steps. She's like, I can't seem to get a sponsor, so I'm just gonna
Mm.
have to work this shit on my own. And
Mm.
he said, he goes, I'll be your sponsor. And this guy had,
Mm-hmm.
again, 20, probably 20-ish years, I'm guessing. I forget. They might have
Sure.
said it. But she's like, you do that? And he says, yes. He goes, you can't go without a sponsor. I want to help you, but here's the rules. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they only met it was like, let's say it was at a church. He said they only met there. They never met
Mm-hmm.
anywhere else. Never met
Right.
for coffee, never did anything like that. Did all their work at
Right.
that place, out in
Mm-hmm.
the open. He was married. His wife knew who she was, all that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So that was the number one. And then she said that this lady, she said that she actually almost got this, not even almost, did get this backlash from a lot of the females at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it was kind of like, in Cleveland, all the women go to, let's say, Dolly, all the men go to,
Right.
all the groups said, who do you know, for instance. Let's just say that's the thing.
Sure.
And but still, this one female goes to the guy in who do you know, and then the Dolly's group or those women got all, I mean, literally pissed at her, and we're almost
Mm-hmm.
treating her like shit. And I'm like, well, that's fucked up.
Well, my question to them is, where the fuck were they? Why didn't they step up at the first goddamn place and help this girl? Yeah. What the fuck, man? Shut up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So she is, at the time they recorded this, she's got 18 years. Again,
Mm.
uninterrupted sobriety, so she's not young in this
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Right.
Worked her ass off, did all these different things. Now, here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought it up. She's brought up the same thing, is that she has sponsored women who are lesbians. So she's like,
Mm-hmm.
same deal, okay. But then after talking about her experience, all that stuff, she's like, okay, but now let me just get this out there because it's important. I don't recommend anything I just told you. I don't recommend anything I
Right.
did. That's not the
Right.
way it should work. Yes, it worked fine for me.
Uh-huh.
Don't do
Right.
it. Do it the way this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so cool. Because again,
Yeah.
the concept, how we were taught, makes sense, and it does. And
Of course.
but she explained all these things again, as you would look at it through this AA window, saying all this fucking shit is wrong. And then at the end, she's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Don't do anything I did." She's
Right.
like, I got lucky because this guy was cool. I could handle him,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case was.
Mm-hmm.
And this all worked out for me, but don't do it.
Right. Right.
So
So she found the one man with pure intentions in the world.
right. Yeah. And you know what? She's 18 fucking years sober,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's got she had a great story. I mean, just in, how
Mm-hmm.
she
I
came
bet.
through and stuff like that. It was good to listen to, but and I knew what the answer was going to be, and I knew what my answer was going to be, but then she threw all that stuff in. I still don't feel any different about, I wouldn't tell anyone, yeah, go ahead, go grab
Of course.
yourself a,
Well, yeah, neither did she.
right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that, like I said, man, there's always an exception to the rule, but goddamn, yeah. Don't think you're going to be that exception, because you're not.
Yeah, it's and once again, a woman with 18 years of really good sobriety and a good head on her shoulders just said,
Mhm.
don't do anything that we just talked about. So yeah,
Right.
don't do that.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yep.
last one, and this one's just kind of a stupid one. Okay,
All right. I'm ready for that.
this came from God Grant Me. Okay,
Uh-huh.
today I think this was, it had to have been from the action. Today, I will write down 3 times I have touched somebody with my light. What? Okay, fuck it. So here we go. In parentheses, and I wrote where it was from, but in parentheses, I wrote, this was my note to myself. Okay, and I just answered my own question. I said, this is juvenile. I'm just
Right,
seeing.
of course.
Okay, wait. I'm just seeing if I can get through it without laughing and seeing what Mike will say. Now, I got through one sentence before I laughed. Okay, because you're like, But yeah, so the way it ends is, what happened? Did I feel the power of my gift of recovery coming through? And I'm just like,
Jesus.
I know. I'm like, damn, that's fucking filthy. I got to write this down.
It is. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I did a copy and paste and threw it into the notes on my phone. But literally, my note in parentheses is just saying, this is juvenile. Just seeing if I can get through it without laughing and see what Mike will say. So, okay. Cool. Once again, apparently I know you. I seriously, I thought I could at least get through the whole thing without laughing, but it didn't happen.
No,
So.
of course not. And I couldn't let you get through the whole thing without.
Well, that's the
touch. Can I touch you with my light?
Yeah, I'm gonna write down only 3 times that I touched someone with my light. Oh.
Right.
And then
come on.
Yeah, but then again, what happened? And did I feel the power of the power of my gift of recovery coming through?
Over and over and over again.
There. Yes, I just shot my light all over it. There we go. Okay, you know what? Why don't you? Let's wrap this up. You get to get back to vacation.
Let's please.
All right, man. Your turn.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. Took the time out of my vacation. I'm glad you were here with us. And, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week. And now it is time, kids. It is that time. It is time for you to
Vete a la mierda.
And then go to a gate with a sign on it saying,
Vete a la mierda.
Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep. It's not doing it.
Vete a la mierda.
Forever.
That's perfect. And I was muted and laughing my ass off, and I was gonna leave it because I'm like letting this fucker play through, but then you're like, it's not working.
It's not working. Hang on, one more last time, just for everybody.
Vete a la mierda.
Which of course is fuck off in Spanish.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. That's awesome. But yeah, it was just as you started to read that, you paused. I thought you were fumbling to find your phone to do the reading and whatever. But so yeah, that was better than anything I would have hoped for or expected. So yeah. All right, man. So you guys, how long are you there? You're coming back when, next Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna head up to Wisconsin tomorrow and go have lunch with Derek, and then
cool.
Christmas Eve we're doing this enchanted thing. It's like a wintry lights thing. So
wait. Are you gonna touch anyone with those lights?
No. So
damn.
Yeah, me, Kathy, Kylie, Kimmy, Brian, and Ollie. It's this
cool.
This whole thing at this park in Franklin, but that's not till obviously next Sunday. But
right.
Yeah, so I'm not going to see Derek, I don't think, that day because he's got stuff going on with Katie. So I
sure.
figured, fuck it, I'll take a run up there and have lunch with him. Katie's working, but
nice.
Yeah. So all right, so that's a whole lot about nothing. But anyhow, I think we're done. So you know what? I love you, brother.
I think we are. I love you too.
All right, I will talk to you later. Bye.
Adios. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.